Hello, rugby fans. I'm Joe Harrington at the Flow Sports Office in beautiful Austin, Texas. With me, as always, my man in the UK, Philip Benden, and our regular special guest, Ryan Ellis, also in the beautiful state of Texas. Fellas, we've made it through two rounds of the Six Nations, and today we're going to give homage to Scotland. We're going to talk about how fun Italy is, and France. They're just rolling their way into what I think will be a back-to-back Six Nations crown. We're going to play some buy and sell, and then at the end of this podcast, Philip and I are going to go clubbing a little bit. Because, look, we got Super Rugby, we got Top 14, we're back, we got a URC game this week, so we'll be clubbing that way. And then, of course, we'll also get our six-pack, our six-pack picks, maybe we'll call it that. Our picks for the Six Nations. So, boys, let's start it. Six-pack, round one. France 54, Wales 12. Scotland 31, England 20, and Ireland 20, and Italy 13. So, here's my question. In one word, explain round two. My one word is nerve-wracking. It was nerve-wracking to watch Ireland play that game. Ryan, how about you? What's your one word to describe round two?
Chaos. Chaos. Chaos reigns at Six Nations.
Philip, one word to describe round two.
Intriguing is my word for this one. Yes, Joe. And with your brilliant intro there, I was just reminded we're just a group of cool dads, those three. So
Oh, yeah.
here we are.
Look, I don't know. I can just tell you that I am not wearing New Balances and I am not wearing jorts, but I am definitely the dad. I'll have some dad jokes later. We'll find out. We'll have a
I
dad
love
joke
I love
segment.
New Balances.
Yeah, I was going to
Greatest
say, I'll
Yes.
greatest
split a
thing
pair.
greatest thing, I was in an elevator going back to our parking garage and there was a Gen Z guy in there and he was like, "Nice newbies." And I was like, I have no idea
Ooh.
what a newbie is. I had to figure it out.
Oh gosh. Yeah, it's safe to say we're not going to have any viewers under the age of about 25 on this video, I'd imagine. But anyway, bear
Look.
with us.
Well, let's talk a little bit about round two. Philip, first of all, props to you. You picked Scotland. I was like, I did not see it. I did not see how Scotland was going to lose in Rome to Italy and then come back and beat the second best national team over the last 12 months, and they did it handedly. What the heck happened in that match?
Yeah, I felt pretty confident with my selection there, Joe. I doubled down with an article too. I wasn't spreading myself across our platform, but yeah, there was a couple of things I think without getting dragged into it and sounding too corny, but really styles make fights, don't they? Really, when you think about it, if you think about boxing and UFC, you can look at it and go, okay, well, a grappler, probably going to outdo a striker, things like that. I think when it comes to Scotland and England, right, you were always going to get a response from Scotland. And I don't think that Wales game did much good for England because it was just such a runaway. The biggest reason I felt Scotland were going to go well was, I doubled down on this when I saw the weather was even better, is I don't think the English fringe defence, i.e., out of the wings and outside of 13, is particularly good. I think Tommy Freeman is a world class winger. I think he's got a bit of a way to go at 13. And I thought defensively, Scotland could get to them. I figured when you think about Finn Russell, one of Finn's biggest skills is that long pass and quick kick pass. And I figured that they would target that 13 channel, and that's what they did all game. And I know it sounds retrospective, but if anyone read my previews, this is sort of where I felt Scotland would get after England, and that's what they did. And I think it's really laid a blueprint for the rest of the teams in the Six Nations. Essentially, the way I view England is they are almost like the Springboks 2.0, but I would call them the Springboks B because they don't do anything quite as well as South Africa. And when you start taking away George Ford's kicking options and his ability to get, big ball carries over the gain line, for most tens, that's a real challenge. But for Ford in particular, who's such a great game manager, not a game breaker, that becomes really, really tough. So I kind of felt that Scotland would find their way around that English blitz defense in short, and that's what happened.
Ryan, you covered that game for us. How stunned were you when Scotland went up? I think it was 17-0 in that match.
I mean, I thought that the defining play was the drop goal that was charged down, and then Hugh
Mm.
Jones ran the length of the field. And Hugh Jones, to me, was the player of the match. He was unbelievable. Finn Russell was predictably managed the game well. Yeah, I was surprised. I did not think that. I honestly, despite what his recent history has said, I thought that England would win. I think they only beat Scotland last year for the first time in like six times or something in the Six Nations. So I think Arundel leaving was kind of silly on his part, and it really impacted the game. Obviously he was the leading try scorer in the Six Nations. Maybe he is still. So that was quite a big knock to England's chances. But the Scottish crowd, I mean, what can you say? Murrayfield, you know.
Yeah. See, my theory is, Philip, is that Hugh Jones and Gregor Townsend in Scotland, they listened to the Flow Rugby Roundup
Mm.
podcast, and they were ready to go.
Is
And they
that why
were
they
saying,
showed? Is that why they showed Townsend on the screen so much?
yeah, they were like that podcast in the U.S. Those blokes are they're firing our coach. They're saying that we are the Cincinnati Bengals of international rugby. That's
Yeah.
that's my theory.
Wait, here's my impression of Gregor Townsend after Scotland scores a try. That's it. Until
So
the end of the
accurate.
game, nothing, nothing, not a smile.
I
Well,
almost think as great as of a result as it was for Scotland, part of me thinks it's almost a real reflection on Townsend because if Scotland don't now go on and win at least one against Ireland or France, it's kind of been for nothing, right? Because they've proven they can get over that hump. They now need to beat Ireland or France, one of the two, and I certainly believe they can. I think they will get one of those wins, and I'll save it for later in this episode. But
Ooh,
yeah, I think it's an interesting time because I think if it goes as bad as possible and say they leave with two wins, you don't really take that, do you? If you're Scotland, this team's too talented. So I don't. I'm not letting Gregor out of the woods just yet. Is what my final point on that is.
yeah. It's like if you never, and I said this in our chat, if you never win the Six Nations but you beat England 70% of the time, do you keep your job? Just because the hatred is so strong. It's one of the oldest rivalries in rugby, right? Like it's 200 years old or something. So, um, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
the,
But were there Scottish fans rooting for them to lose so they have a new coach? That's my question for you, Philip.
Ah, I don't think they would have wanted a loss against England, like you said there, Ryan. I think that they definitely wanted the win, but I think two things can be accurate. I really do believe a lot of people in Scotland would like a new coach just for the consistency of it, because
Mm.
I mean, I'm finding Ireland stressful enough to support as it is, and we tend to be more consistent than Scotland. I think for Scottish fans, you must be nearly having a heart attack every game. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, there's just so much talent in that team that for me, they really should be Six Nations contenders, not constantly fourth.
It's
I
hard in
feel
America. We say stuff like, and Joe will feel this as a Cincinnati Bagel fan, but you don't want to waste the best years of like Burrow's career,
Yeah,
um,
I can't believe he's
or
30.
Finn Russell, for example, like a top tier player, and you want to make sure that he wins something while he's playing. He's
well,
31 now, so
Yeah.
but anyway,
well, the good news, Ryan, for Scotland fans is at least in the offseason, they don't have to read a story every day about how Scotland should trade Finn Russell to a team that can use him better.
it's
I,
true.
I do feel like if we had like William Friedkin editing this podcast, like we would just have little subliminal flashes of Gregor Townsend's face like pop up in
Mm.
the middle of the podcast, just like the Exorcist did. Uh,
Yeah,
Definitely
luckily,
need.
luckily in international rugby, trades usually happen before, well, people are like in their early 20s. So Scots become Englishmen, uh, and New Zealanders become Irishmen. So,
Definitely need to get Elliot to get some photos of Gregor Townsend in this, maybe with some heart graphics by it. Because, look, we got to give him some flowers. I mean, my guy
mm,
came in there and they beat a team that hadn't what was it, 12 straight matches or 13 straight matches, Phil, for England.
It was 12, but again, it sounds like you've got to think bulk of those were at home, and the two big ones on the road were against Argentina's second team. Now I know England were missing a lot of players with the Lions too, so I want to put a bit of a caveat on there because again, I always sound like I'm an England hater. I'm not here, but when you look at it, they beat the All Blacks towards the end of the All Blacks tour. They hammered Australia, who were terrible. They escaped not playing the Springboks last year. The Springboks did a lot of damage to the presumed other big teams in Ireland, France, and New Zealand. All three of those teams took hammerings at the hands of the Bucks. So I think at the moment, England are riding. England will come back, and I have a good feeling that they'll be much better again this weekend. But there just didn't seem to be a plan B for them, which was interesting, right? Because they've dominated teams with this kicking game. But what do you do when that's not working? And it proved that they didn't have anything else. So
and you don't have Arundel for
yeah,
the rest of the game.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is interesting, Ryan, because England probably would have been better off losing forward against a side like
Right.
Scotland.
Here's my last question for you on this, and Joe may have something else. But are there two coaches that look more like former rugby players than Townsend and Borthwick? I mean, their noses are, their faces ruddy and beaten. They've been tackled. They could probably go out there and tackle someone.
Yeah. I mean, Simon Easterby's nose is like this. The Irish assistant coach. That's yeah. I was
So
at
is
the
Mitchell when
ENT.
he's out there playing.
No, exactly. Yeah.
My
No, yeah.
my last question to Philip is Philip. Okay, after last weekend, I hear Scotland is going to win the Six Nations. Is that right or wrong?
Yeah, not happening. No, they're not going to win the Six
That
Nations.
would be incredible. That would be incredible. They have a chance.
Yeah,
Ryan, my
yeah.
last
It's
take
super
on this
open.
game.
Super open.
Ryan, my last take on this game, and then we're going to move on, is what's your confidence level in England right now?
Right now,
Yeah,
I'd have to
after that.
check. I'd have to check the Sun and the Daily Mail first. Yeah. Confidence, 25%. I think. After it's just like we'll get to France, but if you if you watch the highlights of that game, it's like a rugby instructional video or something. So everything they did was ridiculous. And like you said, what did you say? What Finn Russell is at his best doing those chips. Like if you look at the Jalabert kicks that he had in this game,
Outrageous.
it's like let's show an American football person like how fun rugby can be. Just watch this game. Anyway.
Well, who played better against Wales, England or France?
France. Yeah, France for me.
Okay.
I think England physically just beat up Wales, but I mean France just shredded them in every form. And I think that could have been 70 points if France were just like trying things that really, if it was a proper test match, they wouldn't have tried and they would have just scored.
But they looked like they were just like seeing what they could do. And then of course you have like Ramos hitting like ridiculous conversions like from an angle that because they scored from so far out, it's like yeah. And then I was watching because I didn't watch the game. I was watching the highlights. I'm sorry, FloRugby fans. But it's like, oh, well, they haven't done it. They've done it athletically. Teo Otsagbe and Louis Bielbiere, like they've done all these athletic tries, and then immediately the next try is them with the ball like pushing through, and so like it's just well rounded. Anyway, we're starting to talk about France now, but
well, okay. When we come back, we're gonna have a little bit of a break, and then we're gonna talk about. I think the game of the Six Nations so far. Ireland versus Italy. We'll be back in a second with more on that one. All right, here we go. Ireland versus Italy. So last week we spent like 40 minutes talking about Ireland, and they come out and they play a game that they won, but it kind of felt like a loss. But I'm not going to start with Ireland. I'm going to pose this to both of you. Is Italy the most fun team to watch in the Six Nations right now? The way they played against Ireland, where they were just going for it, it reminded me, Ryan, a little bit of like a Boise State football in like a big bowl
Ugh.
game. They were
I
just
would
busting out all the stops.
I would say that game was quite fun for me. I don't think that it was fun for Philip. If you're a fan of either team, really, it probably wasn't fun because Italy, if you're an Italian fan, it almost gave you enough hope to believe that they could win. And Tommaso Menicello was doing amazing, and then he made two terrible plays. So I don't know. I don't know how fun it was. I think France is probably still the most fun to watch, but
For
yeah.
sure. Yeah, I think France is still the most fun, but I love seeing Italy do so well. And they really are coming forward. So you look at the athletes they have now, they've never had athletes like that. I would argue they have the best scrum in the Six Nations, which is just, I mean, Italy have always had good set piece, but this is like another level. And now they've got the backline to match it. But I do think they missed Ignacio Brex and Capuazzo a lot in that back line because you add those two in there and there's just no gaps in that Italian team that they really are phenomenal. So I enjoy watching them, but I'm still in the Ryan camp of I prefer watching France. I just think you just watch France, you're like, what is going to happen next? You just
Mhm.
honestly no idea. Like, yeah, it's a joke.
Speaking of Italy and France, the one thing I was thinking is like we've talked about this already. I can't say it's like Monticello on Toulouse playing with
It's
those
such a joke.
guys. It's just gonna be it's gonna be ridiculous. He was
Yeah.
so good in
He's
this
he
match. I
looks
cannot
like
believe he's going to Toulouse.
he's like the most muscular human that's playing
Yeah.
rugby. Like he's just like bursting out of his shirt. Man, that guy yeah, he's really
I
fun
think
to
he's a
watch.
world player of the year in waiting. I think the guy's that good. But it's funny because Toulouse have had quite a lot going on about sort of breaking salary caps and financial regulation. How do you
Mm.
sign arguably the best center in the world? Best center, like it's almost ridiculous. I'm hoping that they will put more governance in there because what you don't want is just a club that is just so far ahead of everybody else.
I mean,
Because
what happens if he doesn't make that forward pass, Philip?
yeah, yeah, or he catches that ball on the late chip over the top. It's it's a draw. But then I think conversely, you say if Prendergast nails the two conversions he normally would, it's 24.
Oh, now are we gonna go? Are we gonna do this?
Yeah, no, it's yeah, touchy times.
I have some, notes at the top here. Evidence you can use for Crowley didn't change the game that much.
Okay, let's do it. You go first. I'm not going to say a word. You lay out all your evidence, and then I'll fire back.
Okay, Ireland's comeback started before Crowley entered the game. Jack Conan scored. He was they made it 10-10. Crowley didn't come on until the 55th minute. Ireland's tempo jump lines up with multiple subs, not just Crowley. Gibson Park came on in the 51st minute. Arguably, he had more to do with the Robert Balakoon try to me. And then the Balakoon one is just a great player making a great try. That's my evidence. He,
Okay,
to
so
be fair, Jack Crowley he made the points that he should have made, right?
so
Uh, he added
yeah,
five. He added five.
so I would go completely different to you there. So the big difference is right. The Jack Conan try came off great forward play, which really had nothing to do with the back line at all. So it was strong set around sort of close drive and around the try line. So irrespective of who the 10 was going to be there, that was down to the forwards, not the backs. And again, I don't want this to become like I'm hating on Prendergast. I do really want the guy to be successful. I think he's got such upside, but he's just been put in a terrible position by the Irish coaching staff at this age. And it's actually disgusting when you look at what people are saying about him and Crowley online. So I don't want to dive into that. I think,
Absolutely,
yeah,
I agree. I
yeah.
agree. I root for
But
them both. But I do have a question for you.
yeah,
You have a year, over a year and a half until the next Rugby World Cup.
it's too soon
Prendergast
for
has
him.
a year and a half. He's a young man still.
too soon.
If you're the coach or the director of the Irish Rugby Union, how do you put him in a position to be ready to be the 10 at the Rugby World Cup? What do you do between now and then? Or is it down to him?
So again, my background's in strength and conditioning, right? So that's what I've worked with. I've worked with professional rugby players as a strength and conditioning coach too previously, and it's there's a lot of development needed in there, right? So he's a relatively slight figure for he's 6'4". He's a big guy, but he's not bulky. But it's technique and it's I don't think you fix that in a year and a half. I just don't. And actually, what I think is, I personally think Prendergast would be much better in a bench role where the game opens up and he has more time. That's what I believe.
We'll find out this weekend.
So, well, we might not, because it might be Harry Byrne or Kieran Frawley, you know. But just going back to the Jack Crowley thing on the Balakoon try. So in that, if you watch that build up, right, the two key things are Jack is a lot closer to the line, so he's occupying defenders, multiple defenders, because they weren't worried about Prendergast as a running threat. So every time you watch Jack get the ball, there's at least two Italians on him. He touched the ball 7 times in the build up to that Balakoon try. It's pretty impressive as they go the length of the pitch. He then also nailed the 2 kicks, which then made the game unreachable for Italy, really, in terms of a win. So that puts a bit of a pressure on there. I would also argue Ireland had no possession. So in that point where Jack came on, Italy had 71 or 72% possession. They scored the try when they had the chance. And defensively, he didn't leak anything, which I think is where we would have gone wrong with Prendergast there defensively. So that's why I think he made the big difference. On the topic of Gibson Park, absolutely he made a difference. But the reality of it is that the two of them came in conjunction and worked well. But he had a backline that was humming because he had a 10 taking on the line, which is a very different thing. The biggest thing I can see with Prendergast is what made him so special when he first burst on the scene is that he would just go in and fix multiple defenders and find a brilliant pass. The guy is lacking confidence now. He's too deep. By the time he does that, none of the Italians think he's going to run the ball, so they're just shifting off to the guys who he's going to tackle, who he's going to bring into play, and they just take those out, all his options. They just cut off his options. They also are completely wearing him out because they're just going down his channel time and time again because they know they're going to make yards, whereas they don't do that to Crowley because Crowley's one of the best defensive 10s in the world. So I do think that's where you find the difference. You've also got to remember, Ryan, when Jack came in after Johnny Sexton, Ireland won a Six Nations. They were a drop goal away from a Grand Slam. They drew a series in South Africa with him and Frawley. So it was a very strange shift. You can't go off provincial form because Leinster are always going to be a better team than Munster as things are currently set up across the season. So it's almost doing a disservice to Prendergast at Leinster level because he has it so easy for 95% of the season. Then it comes to the big matches in the Champions Cup and the Test Rugby, and he's just not ready for it. I think he will get there. I feel good he will get there. But cheapers, he's got a long way to go physically and defensively.
So you just mentioned the name I think that hovers over this whole debate is Johnny Sexton was so good for so long. And so, people in Ireland, they're trying to find out who the next Sexton is. Now you've got this debate on the kicking, and I just think that puts so much pressure on both of these lads to fill those shoes that Johnny left at when his career was over after the 2023 World Cup. I just think that it's tough to be the guy that follows the guy. I mean, the Miami Dolphins are still trying to find the guy that replace
Dan Marino.
So.
The unfortunate thing, though, I think that I totally see what Philip is saying. The unfortunate thing is you have to go through playing in real games to get to the point that you can be good, right? So I think that's what Andy Farrell is trying to do. He has to know that Jack Crowley is probably the more appropriate player for the Six Nations, but starting Sam 2 times in the first 2 games, it just tells me that he wants him to get minutes.
I think he's brutally mismanaged the situation, Ryan, completely from start to finish. What they should have done,
and then both of them probably lose confidence, right? Even Crowley as well.
100%. He also jettisoned Joey Carberry out of the Irish setup completely. We've lost a 10 who could have been playing right now who's nearly 30. It's madness. And it's Kieran Frawley. Frawley had one bad game against the All Blacks. We have never seen him again. Never seen him again other than small bit parts here and there.
Well, and one of
I
the
think,
best drop goals I've ever seen.
but here's my other argument. Like the tens are always the focal point. In Irish rugby, there is something mystical about the Irish 10 shirt that we always debate. We had Ronan O'Gara, Johnny
Mm.
Sexton. We rolled through that. Before that, you had David Humphreys, Tony Ward, all this sort of thing. So it goes back a long time. But the reality of it is that actually the whole squad needed a turnover, which they postponed doing after the World Cup because they really wanted to put to bed that quarterfinal exit and win a Six Nations, go well in 2024, and then have a load of players on the Lions. But actually, when you look at it, what we should have done is taken the pain in 2024 and moved on players who are clearly not going to be there at 2027 World Cup. So our tens are getting a lot of the blame, but actually both of the tens, in my opinion, have potential to be world class. Both tens have the potential to be world class. But the reality of it is that in my opinion, and this isn't retrospective because I've said this consistently for the last 2 years, what Farrell should have done is kept Crowley as his first choice all the way through, put Sam in games where he's going to be successful, build up his confidence, get him going. He is a brilliant, brilliant bench option right now. It's twofold on that. Gives Crowley, a clear understanding that he's number one. He can also play number 12. So when Sam comes on, they can come in together and play together
Sure.
that way. That gives him that confidence. It also means you just wouldn't have this stupid debate with these kids getting that's because that's what they are. They're young men and they're getting the crap
Absolutely.
kicked out of them constantly
Yeah.
online. And
Yeah.
it drives me up the wall because the Irish media are trying to wipe their hands of it, but they have been so bad at driving this narrative that they've made this issue. So I think it starts with Andy Farrell stuffing it up. The Irish media have completely overdone this and made a big issue out of it. So I'm hoping over the next 18 months, you asked me about having Sam Prendergast ready for the World Cup. My biggest thing is make Jack Crowley the number one choice right through to the World Cup. Have Sam Prendergast coming off the bench with 20 minutes to go. When defenses are opening up, he can do what he's really good at. Build up his confidence. Give him starts against the likes of Wales, Italy. Build up that confidence and get him back to where he is.
Yeah,
But more
it's a bit like
importantly,
a quarterback controversy, though. The moment that
yeah,
Jack Crowley messes up now, if he
so
takes a
stupid.
starting point, they're just people are just waiting to jump on him, you know. So
100%.
yeah,
Yeah.
what's funny is that Italy had a chance to tie it in the end, and
Mm.
James Lowe made an incredible defensive play.
Yeah.
Uh,
Huge.
so it really did. It may not even matter.
Well,
Uh,
look, I think that was the biggest takeaway from Ireland in there. And I told you this in the real time. Like, as bad as Ireland played, I thought their defense was really
Phenomenal.
good against Italy down the stretch because
Mhm.
Italy was going for it. They were playing aggressive, but they had the ball like 5 meters out, and the Ireland defense stepped up. James Lowe made that great play. I mean, I thought that was a pretty good takeaway, and I think they can build off that
Yeah.
going into
we
the next match.
I
we've
completely
also
agree,
we
Joe.
haven't
Yeah.
talked about how good Jack Conan was and Robert Balakoon.
So good.
I mean,
So good.
like let's talk about some of the positives. Can you tell me, like, can you break down the Balakoon play a little bit for me and just like,
Yeah.
because it's really him making it happen, you know, at the end. He's breaking tackles, he's using athleticism. It was incredible. And does he deserve a chance to start? Certainly he deserves more minutes.
Oh yeah, I think he's locked onto that right wing for the rest of the championship. Yeah, right. But actually, when you look back on it, so Balakoon is just oozing X factor. Ireland have wanted him to be in the lineup for 5, 6 years at this point, but he's always injured at the wrong time, unfortunately. So he's just struggled to get a good run. Plus, Ulster were really poor for a couple of years. So, but actually, ironically, it was his Ulster teammate, Stuart McCluskey, with that brilliant American
Mm-hmm.
football style pass that set him up, right? So it's really interesting because we look at it, right, and again, it goes back to when you start on the left side, Jack occupies a couple of defenders there, finds Stewart, who then gets the ball away, and then Balakoon looks up and goes, actually, I can beat these guys on the outside. That is such a unique thing that this Irish team at its best never even had. So when you think about that and you mix back in the players who Ireland can call back into the lineup with Mac Hansen and Hugo Keenan and guys like that, I think Balakoon's going to be locked onto that right wing, and the more creative players come back in, I think we're going to even see better and better play from him. So I just really, really hope he stays fit and firing because he's such a special player. Jack Conan 100% deserves to be the Ireland number 8, and I would argue he could be the Irish captain at this point. Just because of how good he is at dealing with refs when he does it for Leinster. And I feel like I'm really going after Doris here. I don't mean to be, but I just really worry that it's taking away from his game being the captain at the moment. But I
He
actually,
looked tired.
contrary
He
to
looked
a lot of
very
people
tired
said,
in his post game interview.
yeah, he certainly did. Yeah, so again, going back on this, Ryan and Joe, I actually did leave the match feeling a lot more positive about Ireland, and it goes down to the point that Joe said. The defense looked a lot more connected. Now, I still have a few issues with certain things. I think Gary Ringrose is being asked too much as a sort of a shooter in a blitz defense. I think Ireland looked much better when they stayed connected, and I thought James Lowe made a massive difference on that side of things. Yes, he has lost that yard of pace, but that power game is unbelievable. And what his defensive reads were bang on for me against Italy, which is great. He does one thing that I find quite stressful at times, where he jams in and tries to cut off the ball, getting out to the wing to stop that side of things in terms of pacey wingers getting the ball. But when it comes off massively. So I think he did a great job, and himself and Balakoon are both great defenders and both really, really good in the air. So I'm very positive about Ireland. I think they are going the right direction. I think there will be a lot more selection changes over the coming few weeks. I don't think they'll change too much for England this week, but I think Wales, you'll see a few new faces again. And then when you think about the sort of 10 or 12 players who would probably be in our match day 23 coming back from injury, suddenly we have a lot more good depth. So on the whole, I think the injury crisis has actually been a very good blessing in disguise for Irish rugby long term.
Right there we have it. We've got to break down Ireland, Italy. What a fun match that was. We're going to come back with some buy sell. So stay tuned. All right, gents, it's time to go back to the rugby stock market. We're buying and we're selling. First one up, Philip.
Wait, we didn't talk about the Wales France game.
We don't have to.
I think even Welsh fans want that.
Buy sell. Joe, do we talk about the Wales France game? No, I'm selling it. Philip.
Look at this guy, Ryan. You know, you give him a little bit of power, and suddenly we're not talking about France and Wales.
Look, we talked
France
about,
is one of the most incredible games in the world.
Fellas, we talked a lot about France in those first segments, okay? We've talked a lot about France. We're going to talk France right now because, segue, Philip, my first buy-sell. Buy-sell. No one's beaten France in this Six Nations. Buy or sell it.
Sell. I'm coming to this later.
Okay. Yeah. I agree.
Who's doing it? Who's doing it?
Scotland.
Okay. All right. I heard that before. I've heard that before. All right.
I don't know. England. It's probably England.
I just think, look, gents, we are due some dry weather here. The way Scotland play, if they can find what they did against England, France haven't been tested that way. But
they will never fire Gregor Townsend if he beats England and France.
That's what I'm hoping for, Joe. They're in our pool in the World Cup next year. I need them to keep Gregor.
We need Gregor Townsend's face just floating across the screen right now.
I hope he never sees any of this.
He's our king. He is the king of this podcast, Gregor Townsend.
There we go.
Here's my buy or sell that I didn't have planned. Does France beat New Zealand today? Right now.
Yeah,
they do.
Oh,
not
definitely.
South Africa though.
Not South Africa.
Definitely buying it. As somebody that stayed up this past summer and watched the C France team nearly beat the All Blacks twice in New Zealand. Absolutely.
I mean, the All Blacks are still ranked number 2 in the world. You put their best team on the field, I think France still beats them right now. But it's
I think it goes South Africa, France, and then a bundle of England, Ireland, New Zealand, Scotland, Argentina at the moment.
Argentina, for sure.
We talked about this in the lead up to the South Africa-France game, that we thought these were the two best teams in the world. And a lot of that was just based on, France went 0-3 against the All Blacks last year, but they nearly won 2 of those matches, and they didn't have anybody. They didn't have any of their stars.
Yeah.
Right now, Fiji is ranked above Scotland, which I find interesting. Not to disrespect Fiji, because they are incredible.
Unreal. And also, I know we teased it a few times before, Joe, but our top 50 prospects, the Fijian players who are on that list, are frightening. There's one who's 6'10" and 155 kilos. So,
they're a bit like Iceland at the Euros. What was that? 2016, 2012? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think they have volcanoes too.
Ryan, I got to buy sell after this week, after what we just saw from Italy. Buy sell. Italy beats England in Rome.
Oh, please, please. I would love
I,
that.
I but I can't hedge. I think that England probably wins. With I would. I mean, it would be awesome if Italy won. I don't think I can say it.
I think
Sounds
that
like Ryan's selling it.
the
Yeah, I don't think I
I
can
can make an
sell it.
argument for it. I think what do England do well? England play the aerial game really well and they have forward dominance. What do Italy do well? Play the aerial game and have forward dominance.
Mm.
It's going to be it's going to be so tight and so
Well, I can tell
physical.
you if Arundel gets a red, it'll be
Yeah,
Italy will
true,
win.
true, true. But England are the only team Italy haven't beaten in the Six Nations, so that would be huge for them. That would be massive. Um,
Yeah,
but long
yeah.
term, it creates a problem for everyone else because then we've got a really good Italy.
All right, Philip, buy, sell. Spain, Georgia is most interesting matchup on the continent of Europe this weekend.
On the continent of Europe.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I like your wording there because we're an
Oh,
island.
I
Yes,
I saw
okay.
this in the notes. That Joe,
That is such a workaround, Joe. Yes, it is. It is the most fascinating contest on the
continental
European.
Europe, continental
You
Europe.
got to
Yeah,
wake up really early to beat me.
It's tight. It's tight. It's France, Italy this weekend, isn't it? Goodness, yeah.
I
Yes, I
think it's
think it
England,
is.
Ireland.
Oh yeah,
They're not on the
but that's
continent
on
of
an
Europe.
island, right? We're on an
It's on
island
an
here.
I
island.
know, but technically Ireland is a part of the European Union,
Yeah, but we're
not
playing at Twickenham.
continentally.
Playing at Twickenham,
Damn
so
geopolitics.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Technically, if you go back to the Ice Age, there is a landmass that goes under it.
yeah.
Point here is Spain, Georgia is a hell of a match if you've been watching Rugby Europe on
That's right.
Flow
Yeah,
Rugby.
that's gonna be a cracker. I think this Spain team are good enough to beat this Georgian team. I think it's gonna be really good.
Wow.
I do hope Georgia. I obviously they probably won't, will they? Because the top 14's on. They probably won't be able to get to some of their biggest top 14 stars, but I hope they do. That would be incredible. So yeah, this is gonna be a great game.
Two countries with also great like color schemes
Oh yeah.
to throw it off, but
Oh yeah.
wonderful color schemes.
Yeah. Yeah. And for
The
anyone who
Georgians
follows,
always have a really good jersey.
oh yeah. Yeah, they do. Anyone who follows the UFC, it's the Ilia Topuria Bowl, right? Spanish Georgian fighter. There we go.
There we go.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ryan, buy or sell. Jack Conan's black eye this week and made him look like the most toughest rugby player of all time, especially when he was scoring that try.
Uh, no, I don't think so. Sell, but I still love it. Anytime I mean, rugby players have black eyes every game, so
It just man, the mustache and the black eye, like Jack
yeah,
Conan's is
yeah.
like my favorite player.
They
I
certainly
need a
wear
shirt with
their
him.
pain, but no, I don't think so. But I appreciate your excitement.
Phil, what's your favorite Jack Conan fact?
Ooh. Oh yeah, actually, I know maybe this is a bit of a weird fact. The fact that he was the starting number 8 for the British and Irish Lions on back-to-back tours, but is always a bench option for Ireland because he plays at the same time as Caelan Doris, and before that he had CJ Stander and players like that in front of him. I don't know how, like he must be the most underrated Irish rugby player of the past 15 years, I would say, because he's just always good, like always very good. So I don't know if that falls into the fact category, but for me, that's mad.
I think that is an amazing take.
Yeah.
Where does he rank as far as just globally most underrated player?
Oh,
Because
he's up.
that there,
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think everybody in Irish rugby just know he's good, but he just hasn't got in because Caelan Doris was at one point probably the best number 8 in the world for a while. So, yeah, I don't know worldwide because there's a few players knocking about. I don't know how this might sound mad, but Andre Pollard, like people just get so bored of him, even though he's won back-to-back World Cups and things like that. So, yeah, it's close. I could make it the underrated 15, and those two would certainly be in it.
I mean, you could
kind
say
of,
Ntamak is underrated too now, right? Like,
True.
I mean, there's the like ascending players that are underrated, and then there's
Yeah.
the aging players that are underrated.
It's scary for
kind of
world.
sounds like the Matthew Stafford of
Yes.
rugby, in that
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford's good like every year, and no one ever talks about
Yeah.
him being like one of the best quarterbacks.
Yeah,
Yeah. being in Detroit for that long did not help, did it? Really? It's
Mm.
yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? When you
I'm
look at it, yeah.
I am not saying, Irish fans, that Ireland is the Detroit Lions of rugby. That is not what I am saying. Just to be clear.
Yeah, I mean, listen, similar kit to the Leinster kit, so you can see it, knocking around. Yeah.
You just wanted to say that so you get a Leinster dig in there.
Yeah. No, exactly right.
All right. Okay, we're leaving the stock market. We have bought and we have sold. Coming back, we're making our picks. All right, round 3 picks. Here's what we got, lads. We got England versus Ireland on February 21st at 9:10 a.m. We've got Wales versus Scotland February 21st, 11:40 a.m. And then on Sunday, we've got France versus Italy February 22nd at 10:10 a.m. Ryan, England versus Ireland. Who do you have in this one?
Oh, Philip's not gonna like this. I think England wins. I think they bounce back. That's it.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Philip.
Arundel on the field, it probably makes the difference. It would be. I wouldn't want to be in Ireland if England wins, but it is at Twickenham, so you know.
Philip, who do you got?
Yeah, so I was thinking, I've been thinking about this a lot since you sent us the show rundown, Joe. But I think the head has to say England. England have to be favourites going into this one. But I actually do think I haven't seen. There's no Irish selection out as of yet. I've seen the England team. It comes down to selection for me. I do have a very, very strong sense that if Jack Crowley starts for Ireland, there's quite a few issues resolved in terms of the defence gets better again, and there's going to be more direction in the attack. I am going to say Ireland by 4 points, and I say that because I think England will obviously want to come and prove a point. But I think Scotland showed that if you negate the England's sort of A game plan in terms of that kicking and handle that, which Ireland I think will now with their back three, it goes a long way. The biggest area I see for weakness is that England could absolutely obliterate us at scrum time. But I'm still going to stick with it. Ireland by 4 is what I'm going to say in this one.
Philip, your ancestors from Leeds are going to be so mad at you.
Here's my question: is there something about the haircut that Luke Cowan-Dickey has that makes him so? I mean, what's the word I'm looking for? Sinister. Like, and his like it feels like there's players that have that haircut for Ireland, for New Zealand, that are always in the scrum, always messing about, making the referees mad.
Joe McCarthy.
It's the haircut, exactly. It's the haircut, right?
Yeah.
Or is it? It's a chicken and the egg. Does the haircut because they are like that, or does the haircut make them?
It's a valid point. I think if I can get Ireland over the line, maybe when I'm at Twickenham, I'll try and get a little shave on the back of Cowan-Dickey's head, and maybe that'll make the difference.
Oh yeah, he'll really appreciate that.
Well, here's my pick for this game. My last name is Harrington.
Come on, Joe.
All right. I'm wearing green. I'm waking up. I'm driving to Arlington to watch baseball, and we're going to listen to this game on the radio the whole way through. Sorry, Mom. Sorry, Kim. Sorry, Teddy. We're listening to Ireland because Ireland's going to beat England this week, and we're going to be, doing the Irish jig in London. It's going to be great. Ireland over England this week. Called it. Ireland gets back in the race for the Six Nations crown.
There we go.
You had like a rock thing going there for a second.
I'm excited.
You could have leaned into the WWE a little bit more.
I wanted to say shillelagh. I mean, I couldn't think of the word. That's my pick, Ireland.
Yeah.
It would be awesome. There's going to be plenty of Irish fans at Twickenham for sure.
Oh yeah, it'll be fascinating, gents, because again, England haven't been in this position yet, have they? 12 wins on the bounce. What do you do after you get punched in the mouth for the first time? Really? And when you think back on it, Ireland, was it the last Six Nations, Ireland really torched England. They switched off a little bit in the last bit. And then England played against France where they made about what it was actually 28 handling errors from memory. So it's like I'm really fascinated to see what this English team are made of, because if they lose 2-2 here, and lose again in Paris, that's a 2-win Six Nations for them.
They're both in the same position.
Yeah,
Whoever
both
loses
teams
this
are.
game, basically, it's going to be. I wouldn't want to be.
I would argue that the only thing from an Irish perspective is that we aren't expecting to win this. I think they'll win, but we aren't expecting.
Right.
Whereas I think England are very expectant.
Yeah.
So.
Last game on Saturday. 3 weeks ago, this looked like a pretty interesting game, and then Wales started playing rugby. Wales versus Scotland. I'm gonna pose it to this instead of picking one here. I'll say this: does Wales get a bonus point?
No, they've been the worst test team I've seen at any point ever.
Yeah, to reverse tables, really excited for Scotland to win again.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be fun. They were
Our
fun
king.
to watch this past weekend. Yeah,
Our king, Gregor Townsend. There we go. Our guy.
I can't see what Wales are trying to achieve. I cannot see any shape defensively in attack. I just don't get it. I just
they
don't
also
get
they scored when France had only scored like 19 points. They had a try. I mean, like it's obviously they're not. I mean, they did look like they were just running between the seams and stuff. France was like ridiculous, but they scored a try against one of the best teams in the world. So
the problem is,
right?
Yeah. They play in 20-minute bursts. That's it. Every game. Think about it against the All Blacks, Bucks, Pumas, Ireland last year. They're really good for 20 minutes at some point in a match, and the rest of the time they just aren't there. It is a selection issue. I really fail to believe that Wales don't have a team better than what they have out there at the moment.
Well, last question before we move on here is: are we saying Steve Tandy's in danger already?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow,
I think so. Yeah, you go. Okay, a winless Six Nations is not enough to do it. You cannot keep losing like this. You cannot keep conceding 50 points. We're not expecting miracles from Wales here, but losing by 50 points at this level is unacceptable week in, week out. The Welsh people deserve better. The Welsh players are better than this. It's just, it drives me up the wall. I love Welsh rugby. World rugby needs a strong Wales. And I just don't think you can keep losing like this and keep your job. I really just don't.
We can talk about Ronan O'Gara taking over Wales next week. All right.
Maybe
hands off.
Maybe it should be Ryan Reynolds taking over.
Why not? Pump some money in there.
Probably be cheaper than buying Wrexham at this stage.
That's not funny.
All right, there we go.
Sport.
On Sunday, I'm calling it the most fun game of the weekend. I think this is going to be more fun than England-Ireland. I think the two styles are going to be great. I asked you earlier in this podcast if Italy was the most fun, and you two both said it was France. So how about it? Who's winning, France versus Italy? I'm going to preface this by saying France is going to win this game, but it's going to be fun.
France at home. Yeah, France.
Yeah, in Lille. I mean, it was a draw last time they played in Lille 2 years ago, but I think this French team with Antoine Dupont back are just so much better. And Jalibert, this is what I wanted to say earlier.
Jalibert is ridiculous.
The worst thing for World Rugby is Dupont and Jalibert realizing they can play together. It's just,
he is ridiculous.
Yeah, he's
his
just
boot.
Ridiculous.
And then of course Ramos.
Yeah, and Ramos. Yeah, Ramos might actually. The hot take: Ramos might actually be France's most important player because they have no other fullback near his level.
This is what I've been saying.
Right, I'll give you the credit, Ryan.
You've been saying it for most underrated player in the world. Most underrated player in the world.
Yeah, you've been saying it for 2 years at least. Yeah.
Now it's the Six Nations, and we've already picked 3 games. But guess what, gents? The most exciting game on the continent of Europe is at 6 a.m. on February 21st. That's going to be Georgia hosting the Spaniards of Spain.
And we're broadcasting.
And we're broadcasting it, streaming live in the United States. 6 a.m. Eastern Time. wake
Yeah.
up early. I can wake up early. The boy and we're gonna get up early. There we go. I'm taking Georgia in this. I'm not picking the upset. How
Mm,
about y'all?
Georgia.
Yeah, I'm going to go Georgia because it's in Georgia, but I think it's going to be a cracker of a game. I really do.
What low key though? Round 4 of Six Nations, very compelling. Very compelling. No matter
Oh
what
yeah.
happens this weekend.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have France, Scotland next week, and Italy, England. Those are
This is why it's the
incredible.
best rugby competition in the world. Every week is just interesting.
All right, there we go. We've made our picks. Watch rugby on Peacock. Watch the Six Nations on Peacock. Watch the Rugby Europe on FloRugby. We love our friends over at Peacock, but it's going to be a fun Six Nations round 3. Ryan, as always, unless you want to go to the club with us.
No, no.
All right, there we go.
Go to sleep.
Watch Six Nations. It's going to be fun. We're coming back. We're going to talk a little bit about club, and then we're going to close up the podcast.
Yes. Go Crowley. Go Prendergast.
Cheers, Ryan.
All right, we're back here. We're going to talk some clubs. Philip, Super Rugby returned this past weekend. The Crusaders lost. What the hell was that about?
Yeah, one of these weird early Super Rugby rounds. I thought across the board a lot of the play was sloppy, but you expect that. It's round 1. All the teams will get better and crisper. But yeah, great win for the Highlanders. And how about Moana Pacifica thumping the Fijian Drua, Joe? Just some really interesting results. And the Waratahs shredding the Reds was something else too. So yeah, really interesting opening round.
So here is my question on Friday, February 20th. Philip, make the case to America for why they should wake up at 3:30 in the morning on Friday, go to Rugby Pass because it's streaming on our friends at Rugby Pass, Super Rugby is, and watch the Wartaws host the Drua. Make
Are
the
these people
case.
employed or unemployed, Joe, out of interest? Just trying to find out.
You know what? We unemployment's going down. All right, it's going down a little bit in the United States. We have some good jobs numbers. So I mean,
Maybe watch
maybe,
the
but we're
replay.
like, yeah. I mean, look, it's all right. So make the case. Why should they
Yeah.
wake up?
I mean, I'm a rugby nerd, and I think I might struggle at 3:30. But I think it's just such fun action to watch Super Rugby, and yeah, I think if you want to watch some great tries, you're guaranteed it in Super Rugby every week on week. It's guaranteed. I think if you want to get a good idea of the next sort of wave of talent for the Boks, not the Boks, sorry, the All Blacks and Wallabies this year in Fiji, you're going to see some really good young stars because a lot of them across the board this week. So that would be why I would wake up. If you want to be able to brag to your friends about watching it early.
All right, we have one URC match this week. Remember, the league is on a bit of a hiatus, but the Lions and the Sharks, they're coming back. They're going to play a game on FloRugby this week at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. What are you watching from that match?
Yeah, I think the Sharks really found their mojo, didn't they, beating the Stormers back to back? So I wonder, can they make a bit of a run up the table here now and get themselves locked into the top 8? I think the Lions have some really good young players across the board, but I think this will be a step too far from them. It's really hard because both teams have had a bit of a gap, obviously, with the Six Nations and the break in the URC, but I just want to see, can the Sharks get some sort of consistency here and go on a run? So that's the biggest thing I'm looking to see here, because I think if they put in a mixed performance, the questions are right there again. But if they go and beat the Lions and beat them convincingly, it just means those wins over the Stormers weren't flukes. I think the Sharks take it, and I think their Springbok players play really well.
Top 14 came back. Top 14 is now back on hiatus. The rest of the URC is on hiatus. Gallagher Prem were about a little more than a month away from them coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Super Rugby's there. CTA here is Super Rugby is going to be joining our rugby rankings next week. We were going to let them play a couple games before they qualify to get into our club rankings. Not good news for Crusaders losing, because I thought they were going to be our highest ranked team once we get those, but they did not win. So stay tuned to our club rankings next week because we're going to have Super Rugby back in, and we have the URC coming back next week, which will be fun. We're not going to see a lot of their top international players there because it's just if I believe it, it's just going to be a 1 week gap. The Six Nations takes a break. URC players come back and they play. A couple other promos before we end the podcast here. Philip, you sent me the list. We have 50 prospects. So we are ranking the best prospects next month in all of rugby in the world. To our knowledge, no one else does this. We have a criteria. We're settling on 5 test matches, right?
5 test matches, and they must be under 23 years old, or 23 or under. So they cannot be over 23 years old.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I can't wait to see this list. You're going to be able to see it on FloRugby. It is coming. Philip, our match of the week is the Georgia-Spain game. Mm-hmm. Any other quick thoughts on that match before we've talked about it a lot, but any other quick thoughts?
Yeah, again, Joe, I'm really interested to see for Spain. This is a really good tester of how much they've come on because they've looked very impressive in the last 2 games. You and I were talking about it yesterday that actually Switzerland have been super impressive to start the season, sort of through 40, 50 minutes of each game. So, and Georgia really struggled with that Swiss team for quite a while. Spain struggled a little bit, but put them away quite a bit earlier. So it's going to be fascinating. Do Georgia get some of their really top-end, top 14 players back for this one? I'm hoping to see that in the lineup. But I think for Spain, it'll be a real test for their pack, as it always is with Georgia.
Watch rugby on FloRugby. Keep an eye on our Instagram account, our Facebook account, our YouTube account for more Six Nations and Super Rugby content. Watch rugby. Watch the Rugby Europe. A lot of great games there. Philip, as always, nice chatting rugby with you.
Thanks, Joe. That was a lot of fun.